Over the past half-century, the housing conditions in America's inner cities have continued to decline. While there are many social ills that negatively affect the inner cities, the primary origin for most of the problems stem from the lack of available capital. The crises facing the inner cities can be turned around, but it will take personal sacrifices from the individuals residing in these neighborhoods as well as individuals outside of these communities. The first step to reversing this decline is to recognize that the capital necessary to solve these problems already exists. The second step is to capture this capital in one place. The Inner City Housing Corporation is working to solve problems of blight by acquiring, rehabilitating, and managing quality apartments in the inner cities. Our primary goal is to provide safe and affordable housing. Our analysis indicates that there is money available to address the multiple family housing needs in the inner city. A simple look at the money available to the African American community, one of the largest groups in the inner city, demonstrates the availability of capital.
African Americans will spend $900 billion in 2008, giving them their greatest opportunity for economic equality in the history of America. The Inner City Housing Corporation is working to harness this natural resource by focusing investments in the inner city communities. The mission of the corporation is to buy and manage apartment buildings in the inner city. The rental income provides a steady revenue stream that is distributed to its shareholders in the form of dividends. As the company grows, so does the stock value, which ultimately provides the shareholders with a handsome return on investment. If you are interested in building significant personal wealth while building stronger inner city communities and eliminating blight, join the Inner City Housing Corporation in the campaign for economic equality. African Americans are wealthy in the context of the world, but they do not perceive themselves as having wealth. In fact, the general public perception is that they are poor. Recent reports indicate that African Americans spent more than $645 billion in 2003. This number jumped to approximately $700 billion in 2005, and it's expected to reach $900 billion by 2008. When compared internationally, African American expenditures top the gross national product of all but 8 countries in the world. If African Americans are in fact wealthy, then why do they have the highest unemployment rate, the highest crime rate, the lowest number of homeowners, the poorest educational performance, the lowest number of businesses, and so many other conditions that fall far below the national standard? African Americans are consumers and spend most of their money on things like perfume, jewelry, lavish vacations, alcohol, cars, television, and electronics. Unfortunately, very little is spent on investments. While African Americans have control of substantial cash, they have been unable to amass the capital necessary to create jobs, develop housing, businesses, and other goods and services that a healthy community needs. The only way that African Americans can take full advantage of their tremendous financial resources is to work more collectively and pool their money. The Inner City Housing Corporation believes the #1 reason that African Americans do not pool resources is that they lack the legitimate, centralized organizational vehicles necessary for capturing these funds. The billions of dollars spent by African Americans represent a natural resource. It can be harnessed and converted into capital. Capital which can then be used to enhance the quality of life for those in the inner city and also provide a return to investors.
The organizational vehicle most commonly used for capturing money in a single place is the stock corporation. Corporations are recognized as being so important that they are given legitimate status and protection in the U.S. Constitution. The corporation has been elevated to the status of an individual with all the same legal rights and protections. In America, individual means millions of little people putting their money together in one place with the aim of accomplishing an individual purpose.
Federal law provides for the formation of corporations in order to create opportunities for investors who could only invest small amounts of money, from 1 penny to more than $900 a share. As a result, small investors are given the opportunity to participate in big business ventures through the purchase of corporate stock. Congress also recognized that small investors would likely need to access their money easily, and the possibility of easy access would provide an incentive for small investors to pool their funds. Easy access was provided through the establishment of the public stock exchanges. Through these public stock exchanges, an individual could buy small or large amounts of shares one day and sell the stock to get their money back the next day. A special set of laws was established to govern the conduct of corporations. These laws are found in the Securities and Exchange Code and are aggressively enforced by the federal government. When cash is converted to capital, communities can be built, jobs can be created, crime can be reduced, and children can be educated. The corporate structure is the vehicle used around the nation to assemble capital and build strong neighborhoods. The Inner City Housing Corporation understands the need for converting cash to capital and the need for investing in the infrastructure of inner city communities. The principal objective of the corporation is to buy and manage apartment buildings in the inner city. The capital used to acquire buildings comes from the individual investor, who uses cash to buy shares of stock in the corporation. Through the purchase of stock, millions of individuals put their small cash amounts together to create capital, which is used to make large investments. The 10-year plan for the Inner City Housing Corporation calls for taking the company public. This means that the early investors could not only be positioned to receive dividends, they could also benefit from a significant increase in stock appreciation. If African Americans want to be a part of mainstream America, they will need to adopt a new definition of individual. They will need to define individual as the collective efforts of many who have a single common purpose. African Americans must learn, understand, and practice corporate principles if they are to realize their full economic potential, which is incubating beneath their consumer appetites. African Americans are thought to be the ultimate consumers, but they must learn to reject the public relations and marketing campaigns aimed at motivating them to spend their money on consumer items. They must recognize that the notion of ultimate consumer is synonymous with being economically poor.
Where you put your money can make a difference for you and others who are currently undervalued and underserved. Join the Inner City Housing Corporation in the campaign for economic equality. To find out how you can become part of making this change, contact the Inner City Housing Corporation at area code 916-449-3992 or visit our website at www.innercityhousingcorp.com.